All throughout the world, there are tons of beautiful places to visit that attract tourists each year. But on the flip side, there are some places that no one ever goes to and are blocked off from the public. In this video, we're going to discuss some of the most forbidden places on Earth to never visit. First is North Sentinel, which is in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. While the rest of the islands in the chain are a bit larger and better known, North Sentinel, which has tons of mangroves and is surrounded by coral, has remained isolated and untouched by the outside world. Although it may sound like paradise to some, it is the complete opposite. It's occupied by one of the world's few remaining uncontacted tribes, with its people referred to as the Sentinelese, who have had no influence or contact from the modern world. With that said, they haven't had any peaceful or friendly encounters with visitors, as it always ended with violence. In 2006, they killed 2 fishermen whose boat had been dragged by the current to their shores. After other violent encounters, there was a 3-mile restriction zone placed that prevented visitors from entering the territory. Along with that, according to reports, the Indian government has rejected any plans to contact the Sentinels, as their entire tribe could be wiped out by a disease to which they have no immunity, which is also why authorities have respected their wish to remain uncontacted. The next forbidden place to never visit is the Coca-Cola Vault that is in the United States in Atlanta, Georgia. Almost like the Krabby Patty recipe, the recipe for Coca-Cola is kept secret, that's stored in a large security vault, and is considered one of the best-kept secrets in the world. Since its creation by John Pemberton in 1886 in Atlanta, Georgia, the formula for the sacred drink has been heavily guarded, and only a few have ever been able to get their hands on it. After it was created, it was then acquired by a group of investors in 1919 that were led by Ernest Woodruff. After being locked up at a New York bank since then in 1925, it was transferred to the Trust Company Bank in Atlanta. Finally, in 2011, the company decided to move it to an Atlanta museum, but while the facilities bring in large numbers of tourists each year, only a few select and exclusive people get to actually go through the doors of the vault. Third up is the Queen's Bedroom in the UK. As some may know, Buckingham Palace is not only one of the top attractions in the UK, but also in the world. The palace has been home to Britain's monarchy since back in 1837 and is the official London residence of the Queen. However, although there are public tours of many of the rooms and grounds of the palace, the one room that remains strictly forbidden is the Queen's Bedroom, where Her Majesty herself is known to stay. While this room is very forbidden in the palace by outsiders, there once upon a time was someone who actually got into the room, Michael Fagan. In the 1980s, he was able to break into the Queen's Bedroom, which is considered one of the greatest security breaches of all time. The once-in-a-lifetime act involved Michael scaling a 20-foot wall and pulling himself up a drain pipe, all just to win a bet with some of his friends. Following that break-in, the next forbidden place to never visit is the North Brother Island in the United States. Each and every year, New York welcomes millions of tourists longing to visit each inch of the city, all except for one. Located on the East River between the Bronx and Rikers Island, this abandoned island was first claimed in 1614 and was home of Riverside Hospital for patients that were suffering from diseases such as tuberculosis, yellow fever, and smallpox back in the 1800s. While it was first used as a quarantine for those sick patients, it was later used to house veterans of World War II, and then as a treatment facility for heroin addicts. After that, the hospital closed its doors in 1963 and became property of New York City Department of Parks and Recreation in 2007, which in turn made it into a bird sanctuary. Today, the island's closed off from the public and has since been left to crumble from the forces of nature. Another forbidden place on Earth to never visit is Snake Island, or Quismado Grande in Brazil. Although the island, which is located about 10,000 meters off the coast of Sao Paulo, may seem like the ideal tropical spot to relax, the reality is that it's been uninhabited due to its being invaded by tons of deadly snakes. In fact, it's estimated that between 1 and 5 snakes per square meter inhabit the island. As if that weren't scary enough, the snakes that live there are some of the most venomous in the world. For example, the golden lancehead viper, which can grow up to half a meter in length, has a strong and fast-acting venom that dissolves the flesh that surrounds its bite. This, among others, is the reason that the Brazilian government strictly forbids visitors to the island. Next, Mezgorsk. Russia is another place where visitors are strictly forbidden. Though exclusive communities are one thing, in Russia there's a whole town that exists that's closed closed from the public that goes by the name Mezgor. The town is about 120 miles from Ufa, which is the capital of the Republic of Bashkortostan and sits in the Ural Mountains. It was founded back in 1979 and is actually said to be home to a nuclear missile site. Although this is yet to be confirmed and is merely a rumor, it's believed that the site contains automatic missiles that can be launched remotely. The only information we have about Mezgor is that it looks like it's taken from satellite images, as the town is guarded by battalions who prevent outsiders from visiting. It's also been said that the area is used for multiple things, such as an emergency bunker for Russian leaders, mining, and a vault for the nation's treasures. However, the world may never know what the real purpose for this site is, and if it's a real nuclear site, let's hope we never have to find out. The next forbidden location is Bangalore Fort, India. It lies between Jaipur and Alwar in Rajasthan, and is the ruins of what once upon a time was a beautiful kingdom. In 1573, the fort was built by the ruler Amber Kashwawa for her youngest son. But when a strong famine came along, the population of the fort diminished and forced any of the villagers that were left to flee. Although this is true, it's said by legends that the reason that the kingdom fell into ruin was that the fort was cursed. As a matter of fact, it's the only legally recognized haunted place in India. In order to enter the site before dawn or after sundown, the government permit is required. While the reason for this is said to be because of wild and nocturnal animals like tigers, along with the lack of artificial lighting in the area, no one really knows what else could possibly be around in the ruins. Up next on the list of forbidden places to visit is Niihau, located in the United States. For people who love Hawaiian island hopping and think they've hit every island, think again. There's one mysterious island called Niihau, which is nicknamed the Forbidden Island, which in fact is not an exaggeration. Even its visibility remains elusive, because the only way one can catch a glimpse of it is as the sun sets over Kauai's Kakaya Beach, when its silhouette emerges. The island is owned by a single family, been for over 150 years straight, keeping it off limits to any residents of the outside world. The only people who can experience and enjoy all of its glory and magnificence are those who reside there, who are all descendants of those who lived there before the island was purchased in the 1860s. Another place that's forbidden to visit is Room 39, North Korea. The room, created in the late 1970s, is said to be located inside the Workers' Party building in Pyongyang. According to sources, it's taken its name from the office it once occupied at the party headquarters in its earlier days. According to journalist Kelly Olson, Room 39 is one of the most secret organizations in arguably the world's most secretive state. Speaking of, there isn't a lot of official information on the room due to the secrecy of its activities, but it's believed that it raises funds through commercial enterprises, of which are both legal and illegal, with the activities ranging from counterfeiting to the sale of drugs, gold, or weapons. As a matter of fact, this network of companies present throughout different parts of the world is estimated to have been able to contribute to up to $2 billion a year to North Korea. It has also been theorized that Room 39 could be behind the sophisticated counterfeiting of $100 super note bills that were issued over decades. Last but not least on the list of forbidden places on Earth to never visit is Poveglia, Italy. Twisted is one of the many words that could be used to describe the history of the small island of Poveglia, which is located between Venice and Lido in northern Italy. The main reason for this is that the island has been prime real estate for the dumping of the dead for centuries. The small island first became a quarantine colony for victims of the bubonic plague in the 1700s, and in the early 1900s, Poveglia became an asylum for the area's mentally ill. As some could have guessed, it was rumored that there was a cruel doctor that performed experiments on the patients. Fast forward to today, and the island is abandoned, now saved for the ghosts of the tortured souls that once lived there. And unless you want to go through a process of lengthy paperwork, tourists along with locals are banned from visiting. But since it's considered the most haunted place in Italy, it's probably for the best. With that said, that's going to wrap up this video. Thanks for watching.